So hi to you all again. Today I'm going to be talking about the interval. It is a very critical and important part of your learning. So what is an interval? An interval is a distance between two notes, and that space identifies their musical relationship. So the name of that interval as well describes the nature, and I'm going to explain to you what it means. And to be able to recognize those intervals, you need to know them by sight and by sound. And this is what this lesson is about. You gotta know how they lie on the fingerboard when determining the interval's name. So you're always gonna be checking the names from the bottom notes, counting upwards. Let's talk about, for example, the scale of C major. So a scale is a set of notes that are spaced, and those spaces are called intervals. So let me play for you the scale of C major, and we're gonna dissect together the intervals in that scale. So we start from the first one: C, second, D, third, E, fourth, F, fifth, G, sixth, B, seventh, sixth, A major, seventh, B, and then first or octave, C again. So an octave is a distance from a note to the same note. For example, I got C major over here. If I move along the fingerboard and I fall again on C major, that is an octave. And it is much easier to visualize it on the keyboard because you got a set of notes that are separated by two notes attached one to another. So it is easier to see the separations between the scales or the octaves. Yeah. So let's now talk about different types of intervals. The first one have the unison, which is C itself. I'm giving the example on the key of C because it's the easiest, but it's the same context and same knowledge and theory applied throughout the remaining scales, whether they're flat or sharp. So I have C, unison. Remember, a whole step. I got the second, right? Major second. But if I move it backwards, half a tone, it becomes a minor second. So I move again. I'm going to the third, which is major third. And if I move it half a tone, it becomes a minor third. I have a perfect fourth. Why is it perfect fourth? Because behind the perfect fourth there is half a tone, so there is nothing. You cannot flatten this note, so indeed it stays and it's called a perfect fourth. So and then you move to the fifth, which is G major, and then since this note and the chord in this key is a major, once you move it half a tone, you call it a diminished. And the main reason why, because it's not gonna be a minor chord. This is just theoretically speaking, from a beginner standpoint, of course. So if you move a whole tone again, you got the minor sixth or the major sixth, right? The major sixth. Once you move it half a tone below, it becomes a minor sixth. So from the sixth to the seventh, which is B, and you move, it is the major seventh, but once you move it half a tone, it becomes the seventh minor. And from the seventh, half a tone forward, it is the perfect octave because it's C again. Remember, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. So now, if you carry on the octave, once you get past the octave, you already counted from the first to the seventh to the octave. The notes that are gonna follow are gonna be having other names because they're intervals. So which means, let's say that I got my seventh here, my octave. Now I move again a whole tone forward after my octave. Now this is a major ninth. Move again a whole tone from the major ninth. You got a major 11th, and so on. Then you're gonna have the major 13th, and that is the highest. It's the major 13th, second, third, and you got your fourth. So now that we know this, I'm gonna show you some small concepts how to apply them, because octaves help you not only recognize your scales easily, they help you visualize your fretboard easily. They also give you an edge when it comes to improvisation, because you can use them as tools. They help you spice up your music and your guitar playing, of course. Remember, this lesson is applied on all the instruments that use notes. I know every sound is a note, but just understand typically I'm talking about guitars, keyboard, flute, whatever you want. So moving to the other segment. There are words that have been used for centuries to describe the sound of an interval. When you got the octaves, you call them perfects. You got the fourths and the fifths, you call them perfects, right? You remember that. And then you have the larger form of an interval that is not perfect is a major, and have the smaller form of an interval that is not perfect is a minor. And then you have also the name called diminished. A diminished was literally a minor chord or a minor note that has been flattened again. That's why it's called diminished or double minor. That's why when I was talking about the scales, remember on the seventh chord, for example, in the key of C major, I got my first one. Remember, my seventh was like this. This is a diminished. Main reason why, because it was already a minor 7 flat 5, which is a minor chord, and then we flatten again another note in that chord, so it became a diminished chord. That is the origin of the diminished chord. So with this being said, I'm gonna close now this lesson talking about the cycle of fifths or the cycle of fourths. So what does it mean? I'm not gonna display an image. You can just go to Google and check that out. I'm just gonna show to you practically what it is. There's the cycle of fourths or fifths. It is a circle diagram which helps you recognize the sharps and the flats in natural keys or natural notes. I'm gonna show to you, for example. So let's say that we're gonna be moving on the guitar backwards and forwards, and backwards. So the first thing you gotta know, when you move on the circle of fifth forward, you're always gonna take the fifth of every key. That's how we're gonna dissect how many flats do we have and how many sharps do we have. And when you move backwards, we're gonna be counting from every fourth of each key we're gonna be talking about. Let's say we are in the key of C major, right? There is 0 flat at this moment. There is 0 sharp at this moment. So if I move to its fifth, which is G major, automatically you have 1 sharp. And if I move backwards to the fourth, I have 1 flat. Why? Because if I move by taking the fifth in the key of G, which is in the key of C major, which is gonna be C, in the key of G major, I only have 1 sharp, which is F sharp. And if I take the key of C major again, I move backwards by taking the fourth, I have F major. In the key of F major again, I only have 1 flat, which is B flat. Now moving forward, now I'm in the key of G major, and I take its fifth, which is D major. In the key of G major, you have two sharps, which are F sharp and C sharp. And if I move backwards now in the circle in the key of F, by taking its fourth, which is B flat, in B flat as well, you're gonna have two flats. They're gonna be here, which is E flats, and you're gonna have as well F or G flats. So moving again on this other side of the cycle or the circle, depends on how you want to call it. I'm taking the fifth in the key of D, which is A major. Now in the key of D major, you're gonna have three sharps. Same thing on the other side. Now I take the fourth of the key of B flat, which is E flats. Right? Again, E flat as well has three flats. Same scenario is gonna be until we reach the entire circle, right? So if I take now the fifth in the key of A major, it's E major, and E major as well is gonna have other sharps in between. For example, we got 1, we got 2, we got 3. That's it. And same thing again when you take now the fifth or the fourth in the key of E flats, which is gonna be A flat. Again, you have 3 flats inside, if I'm not mistaken. So it is the same concept. Again, when I move from in the key of E now, I take its fifth, which is B major. You can count the number of flats the more we move forwards. And if we go back in the key of A flat, and then we take its fourth, which is D flat, it's gonna have the same number of flats as the key of B, and then we end up again by mating all of them. Why? Because the fifth in the key of B major is gonna be G flat. G flat that can be called F sharp. And if we go in the key of D flat and we move backwards taking the fourth, we're gonna end up on G flats. Right, G flats. So that is all about intervals and the cycle of fourths or the cycle of fifths. That's it. I know it was mostly theory, but it's gonna help you have a better understanding of the guitar and visualization. Not only that, also an upgraded understanding of music theory. So yeah, that's it for today. Please like, comment, subscribe, share, and subscribe for those who haven't, and because you're watching my videos but you're not subscribing. See you in the next lesson.